Welcome to the Y&E podcast. This is the podcast where we're bringing you America through the lens of Nigerian immigrants. My name is Yemi.
And I am Elvis. We are excited to, have you here on this journey with us as we explore life in America, share success stories, and build bridges between cultures.
Great. I remember landing in America in 2011. I came to America with big dreams, even though I didn't know a lot of people in America. I met my host through another friend, and my host took me in. We became friends, we became good family members. And ever since then, we've been developing, we've been growing, we've been assimilating ourselves into the American culture. I know when you first came, there were a lot of, cultural shocks, I believe. But, with the help of the people around us, with the help of a mindset, we were able to get over that hump. And I know there are a lot of people out there with similar stories to us that, need a little bit of guidance here and there to be able to chart a path forward in America and become a productive member of the society.
Yeah, speaking of challenges, a lot of us faced a lot of challenges when we, came to America, whether it had to do with accommodation, whether it had to do with job, whether it had to do with language barrier. We all faced our different challenges, and this is why we are bringing this podcast, to tell our stories, to tell the stories, of the people living in diaspora, regardless of, what part of the diaspora you live. You live in America, you live in Europe, you live in, wherever. From time to time, we'll be connecting and bringing people on this podcast, to share their stories, and so that, people will see how, difficult or how easy it is to, to live in the diaspora. And speaking of living in diaspora, it comes with a lot of challenges, trying to balance, life and, trying to balance everything else going on back home, and challenges, that arises from people calling you for every, minor thing, and then challenges from your immediate family too, and the challenges that come from your job as well. So the reason for this podcast is to, bring people, and those people will share their stories, and then, myself and my co-host Yemi, and we have a lot of stories to tell. So we definitely encourage you to, to subscribe, and stay with us on this journey as we tell our stories before the mainstream media will tell, our stories. Because oftentimes when they do, they try to skew the stories, to give them the rating and the viewership, that they so desire. So another reason for this podcast is to, to show you those people from Africa, extension Nigeria, now, making it big time without, being involved in crime, that have good career, that have good businesses and stuff like that. So we definitely encourage you to, subscribe and, always listen to us whenever you listen to your podcast.
That's great. Like I said, there's so many challenges coming to a new country where you probably don't know a lot of people compared to where you're coming from, where you family and friends all around you that you mingle with, that you go out with. And then relocating to a different country entirely, a different system, requiring a different mindset. One of the challenges I first faced when I came to America was on my first job. My first job, I worked in a warehouse. I knew I wouldn't want to retire working in a warehouse. I knew I didn't want to do a lot of other jobs that other people do. So I knew I had to go back to school because when I was in Nigeria, I almost graduated, but I didn't finish my degree. So I had to come back. I believe the next year that I came into America, once I was able to get a decent job, to be able to feed myself, to get a car, to be able to pay my bills, the next that I did was, enroll in school. And while enrolling in school, I was able to, venture into other things that actually helped me out in my journey. So there's a lot of people out there needing guidance, like you said, needing a community that will support them, a community that will help them get better, a community that will continue to encourage them and, making sure that they try to avoid getting in trouble.
Yeah, speaking of community, this podcast will serve as a community for immigrants, generally from Africa, um, that want to, learn how to assimilate into the system, because whatever you hear about America from, wherever you live outside of America, I can bet you that is even, more than that. You only know a little bit of America if you are not into the system. Typical example is I never knew what they call credit. I never knew that you have to be in debt, to be in the good book of, the lenders. So there are a lot of things that this community will, open your eyes to. For example, from time to time, we'll be bringing people, like I said, professionals, marriage counselors, or maybe some pastors, professionals, basically, especially with the marriage counselors, so that because in recent time, we have been seeing a lot of marriages hitting the rock, and a lot of those marriages hitting the rock has to do with, couples that immigrated from Nigeria to this. When they get here, the woman or the man, see that, I could actually make money, and, take care of myself. So at the end of the day, they think that, I don't need you, you don't need me. So we can always, almost, do without each other. And for some reason, Nigerian men or African men generally are not, wired to help out in, doing home chores. If you are not helping your wife, and there's gonna be a problem if you're not helping with your wife with the home chores, with the children, getting them ready for school, taking them out, stepping in for your wife when she's busy, and your wife, if you guys have not, did not take time to properly set up, the home, there will always be a reason for, for the marriage, to hit the rock. So from time to time, we'll be bringing people. That is one of, many reasons why we are opening this platform, to address all these issues.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. A marriage in America is definitely a partnership. It's a partnership between two people. So a partner or a spouse cannot be given 50% and expect to get 100% back from the other spouse. So everyone has to, bring in, if possible, 100% commitment to the relationship, 100% partnership, whether it's in finance, whether it's in taking care of the families, whether in taking care of the children, paying the bills, making sure the home front is taken care of, making sure all the priorities are kept up to date. So yeah, I definitely agree. It requires a different mindset. Like I said, in Nigeria, maybe I can say marriage is, typically not a partnership because, a man will want to, show his dominance over his spouse and his family members, but it's a different ball game entirely. So it's important that people coming from Nigeria, coming from other parts of Africa into the American system understand that it's a partnership, and we're going to be bringing in marriage counselors. We're going to be bringing in a financial coach that can help people chart a path where they can achieve financial freedom, even if they decide to stick with a 9 to 5 or if they decide to start a business. One thing that we're going to be bringing in is also people that are going to be talking about estate planning. I know nobody is to die, but death is part of life. Death is one thing that is constant in life. In America, when you pay taxes, we know that it's something that needs to be done. So death eventually is going to happen to everyone. So whether you're rich, whether you're poor, it's very important that immigrants, especially without the immediate families here, have a plan in place to take care of them when death comes. I've seen in many cases where an immigrant will pass away in America and they don't have a state plan in place to take care of them, and people in their community will contribute to take their bodies back to Africa. So I believe we can do better as a community. We can do better as the individuals, not putting our burdens on other people. Yeah, life insurance is important. is very, very important. In addition to life insurance, I know we take care of our automobile. We put insurance on our automobile. But if you think about life insurance, right, the government doesn't require you to put an insurance or a policy on your life, but they require you for your automobile in case hit something. You want to make sure you're taken care of. They want to make sure other people are on the road are taken care of as well. And I think more emphasis needs to be placed on people getting life insurance, making sure that they take care of their family members and not putting the burden of things like that on other people in their community. So we're going to be bringing people with different stories, a lot of success stories, a lot of challenges before the successes. And I believe it's going to be fun. So help us get to our first milestone. The first milestone is to hit that 1,000 subscriber, 1,000 likes, 1,000 shares. We're going to be looking forward to that. And I know that you're going to enjoy being part of this community, being part of this podcast, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's actually correct. And one of thing that will really separate this platform or this community from the rest of the communities or the rest of the podcasts, or you listen to is from time to time we'll be taking topics from you, our audience, to discuss. If you have any topic that you would like us to talk about, we are not experts. We are not experts in any of these topics, so we just know enough to talk about them. But if you have anything that you really think is a concern to you, or you want us to share more light on them, and from time to time we'll be taking it. Maybe every Wednesday we'll be addressing questions and answers. We'll be doing that. So that is to tell you that you are part of this family, and we take you serious. Like my partner said, make sure you help us share, like, comment, view, listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, like you said, we believe in the power of sharing our stories, and we're going to be learning from each other. No man is an island. So every week we'll be bringing in authentic conversations. We're bringing in people that can share inspiring stories, and hopefully stories that will make you laugh as well.
Definitely, and hopefully some of those stories are the stories will motivate you will motivate you, and by extension, and unleash those potentials that you never thought you have. And we encourage you to stay tuned.
All right. Thank you all for joining us for our first episode, which is basically an introduction. Don't forget the immigrant story is part of the American story. So we want you to stay by, subscribe to the channel, share, like, comment, and we'll be bringing you interesting stories, interesting people, interesting conversation, nice takes on things going on around the world. And I'm sure everyone is going to enjoy it, and we're going to have a lot of fun together doing it. So thank you all for joining us, and have a blessed day.
Thank you.